We're starting today the 8th page of Mesechta Sotah. It's on Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph in the middle of the page. The Mishnah starts talking about Mashuach Muhammad. Mashuach Muhammad means that there was a special kohen that was anointed to head the Jewish people when they go to war. And it's one of the only jobs that don't go over Yerusha. Every job goes over Yerusha, and this Mashuach doesn't go over Yerusha.
Why?
I once said the reason it doesn't go over Yerusha is because Yerusha is an Inyan from eternity, from Nitzchis, and we don't want Muhammad to be eternal.
Mm-hmm. So it's not a minui shrore?
Huh? It's not a minus short also. That's why it doesn't go over. Okay, let's see the Mishnah. Mashuach Muhammad, he gives a speech. He charges the people to go to the war. So he spoke B'Rosh HaKodesh. Shenem Shek Pasuk. When you come close to war, when Nikish HaKayin, Zekayin Mashiach Muhammad, and V'daber Al-Am, B'Rosh HaKodesh. So really, it's not clear over here. How do we know that the Rosh HaKodesh? He's just telling. He starts by saying that the Kohen speaks Rosh HaKodesh because the state is in as in a pasuk. It doesn't say pasuk he speaks Rosh HaKodesh. The Gemara will explain that. We'll still see that in the Gemara. The Amar Aleim, he says to them as follows: Shema Yisrael. That's how he starts his message. Not that Rabbi say or anything. Shema Yisrael. The Gemara will say why he starts with Shema Yisrael. I want you to know that Allah Yivechem, V'lei Allah Chechem. You're going to war against your enemies, not against your brothers. What do we mean by your brothers? Well, Yehuda al Shimon, well, Shimon al Binyamin. There were different wars, especially when the Malchus divided. So there were different wars between the tribes. So that's not what it's not. Because you should know, She'im Tipul Biyodam, if you're going to war against your brothers and you will lose, so Yerachmu Alechem, they will have Rachmanas on you, even though you're captured.
Enemy.
Commotion Amar said in Pasuk, Vayikumu Hanoshim Asher Nikfu B'Shemus, Vayachziku B'Shivya. In other words, they grabbed the captives. V'chol Me'arumeim Ilbishu. All the people they've lost their clothing in the war, so they gave them clothing. Min Ashlal, from the rob that was taken away. Vayabishum, they dressed them. Vayanilum, they put shoes on them. Vayachilum, they gave them food. Vayashkum, they gave them drink. Vayaskum, they anointed them. Vayanalim, Vachamayim, L'chol Koshol, everybody that was weak and couldn't walk, so they gave them donkeys. Vayaviyam Yericho, tomorrow they brought them to Yericho. Eitzel Achayim, about the people that lived in, the Jews that lived in there. Yeshuvu Shemrim, it's so, you see over here,
that they were kind to them.
They treated their own people, even though they were on the other side. I want you to know that Al Yevechem Atam Hochem, you're going to war for your enemies. She'im Tipul B'Yodam, if Chas v'Shalom you fall in their hand, Ein Meracham Aleichem, they will have no Rachmanas on you. However, Al Yerech Avavchem, don't feel weak. Al Tiru, don't be afraid. Al Tekvazu, and don't, also Tekvazu means like speed, you know, it's getting very nervous, you know. Al Yerech Avavchem, Midnei Tzahalas Susim. In other words, when they go, the horses, they make the horses
make loud noises.
They jump up, and make a lot of noise. With Tzirtzuach Charovas, they shine their swords, their sword, their sword. Altiru Mepnei Hagofas Treisim. Don't worry about their shields, that they knock their shields to make noise. V'shifas Hakagasam. It's also the different things that they take with them to war. Al Takwazu Mikol Kronos. Don't get frightened from they blow bugles. Don't get frightened from that. Al Tatsu they call tzvachas. They scream, so you could get frightened. You could break up. Don't. Because you should know, Ki Hashem Akechem Ha'helech Imochem. The Eibush goes with you. So in other words, you have all these things that I've told you.
Don't worry about it.
They're relying to win because they have a certain soldiers. We want to talk about goals soon. V'atam boy b'nitzchayna show Mokum, you're coming. You have the Eibush on your side, and he goes on to explain. Plishtim bo b'nitzchayna show Goliath. Maho Yisrael. What was the end? The end was that Nopal b'cherev, v'Nopal imay, and his people fell with him. B'nei Ammon bo b'nitzchayna shel Shayvach. That was also a giver in the time that Ammon had. Maho Yisrael. Nopal b'cherev, v'Nopal imay. But you should know, this is not the case. Going with you, what are they going to do? The Oren, HaKadosh is going with you, so in that schus you be menasech. In fact, the Gemara, Michael Amma, the question is, like I explained when we went to Mishnah, he starts saying that he speaks B'Rosh HaKodesh because the state possibly that he should speak. So how do you know B'Rosh HaKodesh? Right about my comment, but from Hakakama, Shalama state in Pasuk v'Dibur u'Halon Moshe Yedaber v'Kim Yanana B'Kol v'Mal Halon B'Rosh HaKodesh Avkam B'Rosh HaKodesh. Okay. Now the Gemara goes into the war. Tana Rabbanon. The question is, who is this Kayin? So the Gemara says, Yochel, I would think, Kol Kayin Shegitza, any Kayin that volunteers could become a spokesman. Talmud Roima, V'dibru HaShaitim. And Ma Shaitim were the police. And Ma Shaitim, B'mamuna, that they were appointees. Of Kayin Mamuna. The Kayin, we're talking about one that was appointed, not that everyone could have the loudspeaker and give messages. In fact, the Gemara v'Eim Kayin Gadol. So maybe it means the Kayin Gadol. So the Gemara says, no, Dumi the Shaitan. We compare him to the policeman. Ma Shaitan sheyesh Mamuna al Gabam, of Kayin sheyesh Mamuna al Gabam. We're talking about a Shaitan has the commission, the head of the police. So they're talking about a Kohen that has someone on top of him. In fact, the Gemara, how did you think there was Kohen Gadol? If you go with this approach, Kohen Gadol, Hika Melech HaGabel, so why can't it be the Kohen Gadol? Also has someone on top of him. And for the Gemara, Ba'avai say Ka'ama. In other words, the police have a commissioner that's in the police department, not the mayor. The mayor should say to go here also. The Kohen Gadol, we're talking about Kohen.
It has to be
someone on top of him.
In the Kohen.
Maybe it means this Gan Kohen Gadol, and this Gan Kohen Gadol has the Kohen Gadol above him. And for the Gemara, it's the Gan Rav Mamuna. This Gan is not considered a Mamuna. What's not considered a Mamuna? Because it may say. It's something like in a school you have a principal, right? The principal picks an assistant principal, Well, it's not that he's an official authority and everything. He's the assistant to help the principal. The same thing also, the mamuna is in case the kohen will need help, he'll be available.
So he's not really the principal. Just the principal's the principal. He's the helper of the principal.
That's what I'm saying. The Sanya we learned, Omer Reb Chanina Sgan HaKohenim, Roma Sgan Mamuna. Why did they make a Sgan? Why did they make a vice? She'im Ida Boipsu the Kohen Gadol Nichlas Meshamas thought that he should be available if they need someone to help out. If not, he has no position. Now it says in the Mishnah, he says to them, Shema Yisrael. Why does he start with Shema Yisrael? The tomorrow, Omer Rabbi Yechanan, Mishum Mepshul Ben Yechoy, Omer Lam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Nebish Yisrael, Afilu Lekiyamtem, Ele Kriya Shema, Shachas V'Avis, I Atem Imsorim B'Yodem.
That's just supposed to be successful.
One of the reasons why they never made mitzvah tefillin, because of this Gemara.
They just say Shema. You just say Shema in the morning and night.
Huh?
They just say Shema in the morning.
Yeah. Yes, so they said to them, Ayera Luvavchem, Altiru. So the Gemara says it's about Ton Rabbanon. Pa'amayim Medaber Imun. He speaks 2 times. The Kayim Meshul B'chama speaks 2 times. Achas B'sfar. One is by the boundary of the end of the land. And B'achas B'mechama. One is on the battlefield. Mahu Omer. What does he say to them? He says, Shema Shimu Dvorei. Listen what I got to say. Ma'ache HaMechama, from the battlefield. V'chizu b'mechama. No, I'm sorry. I made a mistake of it. The first time he says to them, Shimu Dvorei, Me'ache HaMechama v'chizu. In other words, those people that feel that they're exempt from the army, like we learn in the Gemara, all the dinim, and Misha Bonabayas, so should go back. And what does he say to them when they're in the battlefield? Then he says the other thing, because there's 4 things that the Goyish soldiers do. What are they do? They lift their swords and everything, umeriyim, and they tumble, and tzvachim, and they scream, beremsim, and they stamp with the feet from the horses to make noises. So connected these 4 things, he tells them the 4 things that they should not be worried about. Now we're going to go into a Gemara about Rus, about Goliath. Goliath was the one that had Muhammad with David, and David killed Goliath. So, and the Mishnah said that Goliath came from the Plishtim, and the Plishtim relied on him, that he was their great warrior, and they lost. So the Gemara.
Plishtim,
no. Plishtim Bob and it's Chayeshah Goliath. So why is he called Goliath? Omar Rabbi Yechon was Omar Begilu Ponim of Nei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He stood with chutzpah, like Shenema. He said that when he challenged him, he said, "Badu lechem, select for yourself ish, a man, v'yered elai, and let him come down to have battle with me." Now, what does it mean? Select a man. V'ein ish, ela Kadosh Baruch Hu. He says, "Send your God here. I'll fix him up." Shenema Hashem ish Muhammad. Kadosh Baruch Hu said, Abisha said, Hareini mapilai ayidei ben ish. In other words, I'm the ben ish means someone that isn't even known. Usually a person has his name, and a person that he doesn't. People don't know he's the son of so and so. Who is he? We don't know. Shenem Shaitan Pasuk, v'David ben Ish Efrasi. It doesn't say who David was. It says he was the son of a Choshev man. Zot the Gemara. Omar Rabbi Yechon said, Mishum Reb Meir, B'Shlosh Mekaymes, in 3 places, Lok the Piv L'Oisei Rasha. In other words, he said something which backfired on him. What is it? Echad, one thing was Badu Lechem Ish V'Yeda Delay. When he said, bring a person that should fight with me. V'Idoch, Im Yuchali Lochem Iti V'Ikani. If he could fight with me, I'll beat him. V'Idoch, Become David, he said to David, HaKelev Anochi, am I a dog? Ki ata boy elai b'makres. David came with a stick. So here comes this heavy warrior, and David comes with a stick, So he sort of made fun of David. And the end was that David finished him off. Fact the Gemara, David nami Omar Lei, David said to him, Ata boy elai b'cherev b'chanis u'b'chidain. You're coming with your swords and your spears and everything. So David also sort of attacked him. Verbally. But David, that wasn't all he said. He completed and said, he's saying the difference between me and you, and the difference is that I'm coming in God's name. Okay, you saw. Asher Cherafto, that you insulted. Okay. Then it says in Pasuk, Vayigash HaPlishti Hashkem V'Herav. That the Plishti means Goliath, he came every morning and he came every evening. And the challenge, in other words, till the actual war began, he came every morning, he challenged the Jews. So why did he, Amr Rabbi Yechon said, when he came, so the Eden got frightened, they didn't like Kishma. So he intentionally came in the morning and in the evening. This went on for 40 days. 40 days. This is very difficult to understand. What does it mean? Connected to 40 days of Torah? Look at Rashi. What does Rashi say? Look at the Rashi.
No. Abraham Yoim?
Yeah. She'ichro Torah Yizkabo. The 40 days that Torah was pushed off to be received. Nitan Loikayach V'Yaseh. That means that this when on Shavuos, or on the 7th of Sivan, Moshe came by Yed Hashem Hasin and gave the Torah to the Yidden. But then they didn't get the Torah. Then Moshe went up for 40 days, and then he came down after 40 days. During these 40 days, there was a weakness in Kais, the Sikafel Torah. And because Sikafel Torah, so there was a weakness, so he anchored himself on that weakness that there was because of the lack of Torah. That's the shot over here. That's right. I'm going to connect it. Then a certain pasuk regard to Goliath. It says, "Vayetze Adam habenayim."
Ish.
Vayetze Ish habenayim. Mimachnes Plishtim. They came out. We call them Ish habenayim. What does it mean? Ish habenayim. What does that mean? So the my benayim. What does it mean? Omar Rav Shem Mevuna Mikol Mum. In other words, that he was pure. He had no fault in him. His heart, everything.
He's perfectly healthy.
Yeah. Ushmol Amar Beinani Shebe'echel. We're going to read later in the Gemara.
And he had other brothers.
He came from Orpah, and Orpah had 4 children. So he wasn't the strongest of the 4. He was in between, the Beinani, but there was even stronger yet also. Divided Shil Amar She'asu Kibinyan. He was like strong, like a building, just like you can't push a building. You can't push a building down. Same thing. You couldn't push him down. Yechon Amar Bar Meir Papi V'choda Nani. In other words, he was born. His mother was Mazana with 100 goyim and with a husband. In other words, he came from the mother. The night that she became pregnant, she was Mazana with 101 people. So a real mamzer, he says. And the Golas Shmoi, why is he called Golas? Because Migas, he came from Gas. Okay, so there's not special reason. Just that he's called this because he came from Gas, so they called him Golas. Tony, Rabbi Yosef, Shahako, Doshin, Es Imai to Gas. Just like in a gas, you press the oil, so all the goyim pressed his mother. His nose. Ksiv Mares, Uksiv Me'ach Maroches. So the Gemara is going to say that the word Mares is from the word by Bia. It's on Ha'ora. Ha'ora is the scholars of Bia. So Tony Rabbi Yosef Shahako He'iru Be'imai. Ksiv Harpa, Uksiv Orpa. By Rus and Orpa, so by Orpa, Moshe Orpa, and Moshe Harpa. So the Gemara Rabbi Shmuel, the Mechayim Shmuel, Chadam Harpa Shmuel. Belomen Nik Shmuel Orpa, Shahaka Ofen Oisei Mei Achareha. They had a relationship with sodomy, what they do from the back. Chadam Orpa Shmuel. Belomen Nik Shmuel Harpa. Shahako Dosh Moisa Karifas. Everybody dressed her, just like the tefillah that you dress to make it little pieces. V'chein u'ema, v'tikach ha'isha, v'tikvash ha'mosach, ha'panei ha'ber, v'tishtach aleh ha'frifas. This is a passage that says by Yeshua, when he sent the Meraglim to Eretz. So then later the king wanted to wear the Meraglim, so she warned them that they should leave and they should go into a ditch, and she covered the ditch, and she put it should look like there was a work over there with where they were grinding. So the boy saying mehocha im taptish es avo b'maftish b'toy charipas balvi. So it's the same idea. I don't remember exactly what the passage is, but you should. We see that has to do with grinding. Then the Shaitan Pasuk was Aboa Elo Yodu Harpa. Harpa, here you see, it says Harpa, it doesn't say Harpa. It says that these 4 were born to Harpa. The gas in gas. Vayit will be a David, will be a Avodah. Ma Nilu, who were they? Amr of Krista, Saf, Umod, Goyus, Yishli B'Nayv. Yishli B'Nayv is one name. So that's 4 of them. And he was not the greatest of the 4, he was in between them. Shaitan Posek, Vatisha, Op Balachamoisa, Baruch, Dov, Kobah. Normally tried to persuade them that they should leave. They should go back home. So Shaitan, Vatisha, Op Balachamoisa, Op Kista goodbye, and this start come to her that the mother, Omer of Yitzchak said, "Oh my Kadosh Baruch Hu, Yavayu b'nei haneshuka v'yiklu b'nei hadvuka." The children means Goliath. Goliath is the son of the one who kissed, and David is a descendant from the one that clung. So the Abishah said, Yavayu b'nei hadvuka. No, Yavayu b'nei haneshuka v'yiklu in
To the hands of
the one that clung to. Dorish Rabbi Dash another Yeschar Abba de Mois Sherida Abba Achamaisa Zochsa Veyotza Mimeno Abor Gibayim. Why was she blessed with
Have
4
these giants?
Because she cried
4 tears.
4 tears. Where do we find that? So the Gemara brings a pasuk Shenema Vatisena Kairon Vativkena Oid. In other words, so there's different ways how to learn shout over here. But let's learn this. But the second column is they raised their voice, and but they cried more. In other words, with the second column they also cried. That's one way to go. And when you cry, you have 2 eyes. So there's tear coming out from 2 eyes, and it says 2 times.
You cried.
You're crying. So so there
4
was
times.
4 tears. So the schus of these 4 tears, that they had respect for their mother, that she had respect for her mother-in-law, she was able to have 4 children giants. Something more ksiv chayz chanisai, uksiv eitz chanisai. Now, eitz chanisai. Yeah, we're talking here about the sword, and the sword goes into a holder.
Shield,
So
yeah.
one time it says eitz, and one time it says chayz. Chayz means half. So it's the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Lazar, Adayin le'iganu v'chatzi shvachai she'osa rasha. In other words, the pasuk is saying chayz means that we didn't. You want to talk about his sword, about his strength and everything. We don't even realize it.
We only talk about half
strong
of it.
he was. So we hear from, you see from here, she'osa l'saper b'shevach b'shvachim she'rishoyim. That you're not allowed to talk about Rishoyim. That's why we don't say tchayz. Only
Part.
that it's partial. In fact, the Gemara, B'roi liftach be'kal, say don't talk at all about them. And for the Gemara, what I do is shvocha the David. You want to see how great David was. How do you see how great David was?
He succeeded over someone so great.
Goliath. And you don't realize how big it is. It's much more than what you think it is. Okay. Once I think I once told this right. There's a medrash in Messenger in the Torah in Hilchos Milo that the in the pasuk state that when Moshe went to Mitzrayim,
It's a para.
Vatichus he played a tsar. Vatichus has always been known. What says that tsar? She took a stone, right, and she sharpened it, and she used it as a knife. And no one makes a bris with a knife. And we make a bris with a metal.
No one makes it with a stone.
No one makes with a stone. We make with a metal knife. So there's a medrash. It brings in the Shulchan Aruch in the Torah. It brings a medrash over there that in order for how did David
Succeed.
kill
Goliath.
Goliath, he threw a pebble at him. He took a slingshot. He took a slingshot and he shot a pebble at him, and it went into. He was wearing a steel helmet, and it pierced
Penetrated.
the steel helmet and it killed him. So it doesn't make sense.
Right.
How can a stone, even with the greatest kaya that you shoot it, how could it pierce a steel? So
Armor.
Shrita Medrash that the Abisha made a Tanai with the steel at that time.
He asked
The Tanai was that we should allow the stone
to travel
go
through.
and Mizrah said they'll use metal for a bris instead of tzar.
They won't
Well,
use.
that's what you're saying. That's why they started using metal.
Huh?
That's why.
No, instead.
Until then, they were able to use whatever you want, technically.
Right.
And from that point on, he said, "What will you give me for it?" He said, "We'll give you if you open the metal that's on your
If you
helmet.
let the metal
Go
the stone
through.
penetrate,
Your metal, so we'll let you make it now that it can only be done with the
The metal
And that's-
got rewarded.
Yeah, I heard about that. I never knew it was actually was a medrash.
it's a medrash in the Torah. In the Torah.
I heard that. I was wondering if it was just
The Drisha,
But
one of them.
let's say
about
2,000 years ago, who said they had metal? Saying
They always had metal.
always had metal?
Of course, they had metal. How they
The
had
only question was how strong it was, but they always had metal.
metal was around.
Okay.
What they built the Mishkan. They had metal. They had things.
No, they didn't build the Mishkan with metal.
They had
They didn't have metal in Mishkan.
Okay, they had
It
Ruach
wasn't allowed.
HaTichin.
With stones.
Good. Okay, let's go back to the Gemara.
Shami.
So,
Yeah. That was just
So this is a good Rashi for the Moel.
Yeah, of course.
in the Mishnah said, this piece of Gemara that we're going to now, was because in the Mishnah it mentioned Goliath and Pushtim. But the Mishnah also mentioned Shaivach and Amon. That Shaivach was some warrior that Amon used. So the Gemara, B'nai Amon, Bo b'neschayna shel Shaivach.
Who was
That's
Shaivach?
quoting from the Mishnah. Ksiv Shaivach, Ksiv Shaivach. Sometimes it's called Shaivach, and sometimes called Shaivach. So at the Gemara, Rabbi Shmuel, there's a dispute to explain it. Chadam Shaivach Shemohi, V'lam Menikah Shaivach, She'osek Shaivach. He was made a Shaivach is I forget what they call it, a house for the birds. So usually they build high up. The birds fly high up. So usually they build on
Top of a tree.
On a stick. They build, and on top of the stick they make like a house, and it would
What do you call those?
looks like mailboxes.
Yeah.
Each bird
What do you
can
call it?
come in over there. So it means that he was very, very tall.
No, not a chicken coop.
And he was very tall. That's why it's called Shaivach. V'chadam Shaivach Shemayim. V'lam Menikah Shaivach Shekol Reisha Nishbach upon everyone that saw him right away got incontinent.
They're frightened from.
Kikitain, like Kikitain means like a pitcher of water. Then it says Ashposai Kekeva Basuach Kulam Gibaitim. This so the Gemara, what does it mean? What does it mean that it's like the Gemara? Rabbi Shmuel, V'amri Reb Ami B'Reb Asi, Chadam B'Shosh Zerkin. This goes on the time of, it has to do with Nebuchadnezzar. That B'Shosh says Zerkin Chaytz, Oisen Ashposas Shachal Olam. They had soldiers over there that when they shot an arrow, they were one arrow able to kill many people.
That's Hashpasi Kikeva Pasuach. The first three letters.
When they went to the bathroom, they defecated with whole piles. Now, it's like the Gemara,
Maybe they weren't feeling well.
maybe you think that they were sick people.
Yeah.
That's why they had. Talmud Loima, Kulam Gibaitim. They were all Gibaitim. Actually, I skipped the line of the Gemara. Go back a little before. Chadam B'Shos Zerkin Chaytz, when they do an Eisel Hashposas Shechalovim. Fragt the Gemara, V'shem Taimim she'umnim bekrav. Maybe you say that they were expert shooters. It doesn't mean that they were real strong people.
Right.
There was an expert. Talmud Lema kulam giborim. And b'chadam b'shor she'osim zochein oisa hashposim hashposim shozavu. And again, V'shem Taimim v'dei shechelim ayin they're sick. Talmud Lema kulam giborim. That's the Gemara. Amar Rabbi. What do we learn from this Gemara? Shma Minei, from this Gemara we learn that man the Nofer Ziblei, the one that deprecates a lot, he's sick in the stomach. He has a sickness in the stomach. Fact the Gemara, Lamai Nafkamina. What difference does it make? That the Gemara, Litrei Benafshe. In other words, he should search for help. There are medicine, and there's a force, so he should search for the force.
Which means diarrhea, no?
Now the Gemara brings a pasuk. There's a pasuk that says, "Daiga b'lei ish yisichana." If a person has a worry, so yisichana. What does it mean yisichana? Rav Ammi Rabasi. Chadam yisichana midate. Forget about it. Don't dwell on it. It's not going to help you. We should tell it to people. It'll make things easier for you. Okay.
There's how many more? 6 more? Gimel Dalet Hey Vav Zayin Ches Tes 7.